here. It's getting cold out, so I'm gotta wear double coated blankets, Growing up, the most adult thing you could do to claim your independence, at least that's what I thought, was to get your own place to live in. I honestly still think I have way more independence if I were to like go live on my own, especially after I can compare like living alone for the entirety of 2021 and then like beginning of 2022 moving to Chicago from Houston to live with friends to help out for some stuff, and then having roommates, because we all live together. It's definitely a major difference. And although 2021 was very liberating, like just creatively, and just livingly, 2022's moving with roommates was also very nice because my friends were in the field of creativeness and just media production, so it helped. And although like 2021 was a major year for me to like my depression skyrocketed, it was still okay. Since moving to Chicago, I moved back down in July of 2022 and moved in with my parents, just due to financial depths, because a lot of things happened in Chicago that I'll probably make a story later on. But I needed to pay for it and kind of just figure that out as I go. I couldn't really put it in like payment plans or whatever and just figure my money financially there. But moving back isn't a bad thing, On the contrary, especially in a Latino household, I'm pretty sure other cultures too, it's very okay. And it's not very much a problem. Like I said, if you're Latino, with us, you're more than welcome to stay home, even if you're like in your mid 20s, sometimes even in your early 30s. I know my cousins are in their early 30s / late 20s, and they're living in with their family, and they're completely fine with it. It's fine, especially if you have a healthy relationship. I know a lot of people don't, even like Latinos, Mexicanos that don't live at home because it is very toxic, and I completely understand that, But it honestly is an ease for cost of living. Not to mention living with younger siblings, you get all the snacks and food and like little finger foods that you want because your parents bring them because they're little and they want snacks. And they also take snacks to school and whatnot for their lunch. So I don't have to worry a lot about like groceries, which is a major plus, especially with today's prices in the grocery store. If you go shopping for food, you know what I'm talking about. Especially adding the cost of living has increased since like 2021. It's just fucked right now. We're basically back in 2028, no, not 2020, Jesus, 2008, where the recession happened. It's looking pretty bad.
The cost of food, electricity, and rent have all been steadily increasing over the past 12 months.
Now, although it's nice for the bank account, it's not all that great. Especially for my situation. I think if I show you around and explain, maybe you guys can relate too. At this very moment, I'm able to record this video since everyone's either at school, at work, or just outside of the house in general. But it's not just about recording these types of videos. I also have to take into account recording stuff for my media production jobs like Foley, editing, capturing audio for clients. It isn't always the easiest with people talking or just playing or moving around stuff outside of my room door, because it's a small house. And that is my room door, the stuff that I'm at right here. This is the living room. So it's not much space to be like moving around stuff or just making noise in general. I also have to add that I'm a very chronic insomniac, and a lot of the times that I'm awake, it's usually at night where people are sleeping, and being a night owl isn't the most considering thing, especially when your family have all a set sleeping schedule, something that you don't have, I in this case, and it kind of sucks because I just feel inconsiderate that they have to deal with me making noise at night while they're sleeping, and I have to deal with noise during the day while I'm trying to work. It's a very, very shitty little balancing beam that you kind of have to work around with. These are very petty little things that I'm mentioning, but people can still probably relate to. But living alone, I learned that I didn't have to worry about the extra noise that I was making at night, especially having noise in the background while I was working. making noise at night while people are sleeping was out the window, and having to schedule meetings around the time that people were outside of the house so I didn't have to worry about that was very relieving, you know. Even with my roommates being so close friends and understanding of the work because they also worked in the field, it was still kind of relieving because, for one, they were very, very heavy sleepers, you know, so then the entire moving around at night didn't matter. But also, they were just always cooped up in their room if they weren't doing some important shit, like all of us together, you know. You see, the things that I'm mentioning aren't for everyone, you know. Not a lot of people are in media production living by themselves, you know, kind of focus on the audio stuff. But for me, it's a very big deal, you know. I have to keep that in mind about the background noise that is being played while I'm recording Foley for a client, you know, because if the audio is not good, I won't get paid. And that's a very big deal for me, you know. I'm trying to make enough to where, one, I can pay off my debts, two, I can save up enough to not rent an apartment, but actually be able to afford a home. I mean, in today's economy, I don't know. It's very looking like a 2008 scenario where there's going to be a housing crisis for my generation. I don't know. There's still stuff to see there. But see, the thing of where I'm comparing living home alone to comparing it with my family is that I have to keep a very open ear to just audio levels around the house, not just for myself of like being aware that my people are sleeping, you know, and they're very light sleepers and not doing too much noise at night, but also be aware of just how the background noise is for, one, recording these types of videos, and two, recording just in general work. And I don't want to disturb my peeps, and my peeps don't want to disturb me, but you know, we can't always kind of meet in the middle because we each have our lives. I have three other siblings that they need to take care of, cook food and all that. And I have work that I go to and come back and try to record, and it doesn't always work, you know? Ooh, chips. But what I'm trying to say is that it's a very difficult situation, you know? I just don't want to disturb my peeps. And this whole scenario kind of is very difficult to play out, you know? Now, I'm very grateful for my parents to have taken me in after 2022, you know, because I lived in Chicago for the first 6 months of 2022 with the roommates that I aforementioned. And I'm very grateful for them to not charge me for rent. As a insanely idea that is, I know there's a lot of people that parents charge them for rent, but you know, I figured out, although I'm not paying to live here, I am paying the price of having to rearrange my way of living and having to kind of maneuver my workflow to accommodate their workflow, which is fine. It's just that it is very difficult when a lot of your workflow has to deal with other people's workflow in general. You know, because for, say, the Nerd Corps, which is a company that I kind of do articles, do interviews for, who's the company of my friend that I live with, they don't always have the most flexible schedule, so I have to accommodate for them. And I don't mind, don't get me wrong. I don't mind rearranging my meetings and recording times around the time that the house is quiet. That's completely fine. But it definitely sucks that I can't record whenever I want or whenever I really need to, because I have deadlines as well. Maybe I'm in the wrong here, but living at home also kind of costs me just a little bit of my mental health because of the guilt that I'm being loud or disruptive, and that I also sometimes have to ask my parents or my little brothers to quiet down because I am recording some important stuff that doesn't pertain to like this free hobby of YouTube videos. It's like actual production edits that I need to do and that I need to record Foley for, you know. And it definitely doesn't help my confidence in my work, because if I don't feel comfortable enough to ask my parents to kind of like, hey, I know this is your house, but can you please lower your volume down? It kind of messes with like, damn, am I really deserving to work in this right now? Maybe I should look for another job. I don't know. It's just my confidence with the work thing. it's just it's a little iffy, you know. It's very up and down. I just have to maneuver around it, and it's fine. Like, I'm completely okay with it. But like, for me, I don't plan to stay here for too long, you know. And the reason that I kind of wanted to create this video is to say if it's okay to live with your parents and at home with your family until you feel like you're set and free to live on your own. Because I know, like, in today's world, we've outgrown that societal way of thinking of, like, if you're not out by 18, that means you're not fully an adult yet or whatever. That was one of my fears growing up, and it kind of still is, of like living with my parents, you're not really independent, you know. But it's okay, you know. Society and just the economy right now is fucked for any of that possibility. And if you are living by yourself out of like a need because you can't live with your family, that's okay too. We just all have our ways of like going through life. Even with my dislikes, I feel better saving up my money and like paying off my debts, being debt free as I go. And also, and I know, like, the one thing that kind of I can't get over, and is the dating scene, because I kind of feel a little embarrassed kind of mentioning that, hey, I'm living with my parents, you know. I know that it's okay, because someone that's mature will understand the situation, you know, and will just hear you out, aside from calling you whatever they want to call you. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that kind of, well, I'll leave that topic to another time. But, you know, there's nothing to worry about, in the sense that, like, you're worrying, mentioning to your friends or loved ones that you're like living with your parents right now due to just money. And there's definitely an older generation that kind of thinks it's bad for you if you're an adult and live at home. But you know what? Fuck them. That generation really just left us with a lot of problems, not just with like economy wise, government wise, the health of the world wise, you know. And we're calling them out for basically fucking us over, and that's cool. I love that, and I'm all for that. But you know, a lot of people have anxieties and just mental states that don't allow them to see past that, and kind of still feel fearful of that. But you know, it's okay. I'm not sure if there's a message to the story completely, but like, to summarize, if you're able to live rent free until you're at a financial point of safety, you know, even if it's in your late 20s, then definitely go for it. You know, what are the judgmental people on the internet gonna do? You know, if they find out, what are the people on dating sites or like your workplace gonna do? What are they gonna do? You know, are they gonna kick you out of your parents' house?